Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, what Trump's management agenda says about technology, and the National Nuclear Security Administration looks to the Technology Modernization Fund to support its Genesis mission goals. It's Thursday, December 11th, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. And now let's dive into the day's top headlines. The Trump administration outlined management plans for implementing its priorities on Monday in a brief agenda focused on downsizing the government, leveraging federal buying power, and implementing technology solutions. At just 2 pages, the president's management agenda framework and memo from Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vought is shorter than past versions. Nonetheless, the plan largely reflects the existing focuses of the administration. For example, the government will continue to eliminate woke, weaponization, and waste, specifically calling to end discrimination and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. It also supports maintained cuts to the federal workforce. The president's first year has already been characterized by his significant shrinking of the federal workforce and cuts to programs related to DEI. Continuing plans for technology use and contracting were mentioned in the agenda. Per the document, the government plans to, quote, consolidate and standardize systems, unquote, reduce the number of federal websites, eliminate data silos in government, and replace wasteful processes with AI. Meanwhile, the government will demand partners who deliver and install political appointees to control grant processes to deliver results. The administration plans to buy as one entity and change the procurement process, with some efforts already underway at the General Services Administration through its OneGov strategy. Interestingly, the management agenda also mentions ending censorship, overclassification, and government overreach as priorities, but few additional details were provided. The document said the government will, quote, reverse malicious schemes to hide truth and information from Americans, unquote, and abolish abusive use of intelligence activity that improperly targets unwitting Americans or the exercise of constitutional rights, though it does not say exactly what activities it's referencing. Now moving on to other news, the Department of Energy's National Nuclear Security Administration is moving forward on several modernization and AI projects with the help of the Technology Modernization Fund. The more than $28 million investment will go towards 3 main initiatives: implementing machine learning to track fire boundaries and enable data sharing between systems for NNSA's FireGuard program, migrating its Turbo FRMAC radiological assessment tool to a cloud-based platform, and improving AI infrastructure to mitigate nuclear security threats and enhance its cybersecurity posture. NNSA CIO Jamie Wolf said in a LinkedIn post Tuesday, days before the funding vehicle is set to expire, quote, TMF has given us the chance to accelerate mission-critical work while also improving the technology infrastructure for the Genesis mission, unquote. NNSA was quick to mobilize after a Trump administration executive order last month launched a national AI effort dubbed the Genesis mission, which put the DOE at the helm of the majority of the efforts. NNSA issued a request for information the following week, seeking input from experts about integrating AI capabilities into critical operations. The Department of Energy has worked closely with the TMF in years past. The department used investments to consolidate HR systems and transition to a SaaS platform starting in 2024. It also leaned on TMF funds to migrate nearly 16,000 mailboxes to the cloud, a project that began in 2018. The TMF's future is uncertain, however, as its Friday expiration date looms, despite bipartisan support for its reauthorization. Jesse Pasilikin, TMF's acting executive director, said in a Tuesday LinkedIn post that the organization has evolved processes to better meet the needs of agencies and departments, despite having a third as many staff as it did this time last year. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.